I'm so happy to be with you today. Can you guys see me? Hi, welcome in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yay! You can see me. It's real. Welcome into Cosmic Comfort. Oh my goodness. I just read somebody's comment that said, God, I need this. And I'm thinking, yeah, you and me both. Welcome in. Delighted to see you, to be with you, to sit with you. It's been a while. Welcome to Cosmic Comfort. So who's new? I want to know who has not been to Cosmic Comfort before. You might be new to I hope you know who I am. Hi, I'm Athena. I'm the founder of Sage Goddess, and I want to welcome you in, whether you're new or what I say is experienced. Some of you are highly experienced. I'm beyond happy. I have to say, I had a fantastic weekend. It was my birthday on Sunday. And it was just an awesome weekend from start to finish. And I've been really looking forward to this session with all of you. Some of you are new. Look how fun that is. It's going too fast for me to read it all, but I'm seeing me. So excited. So welcome in. And if this is your first time, so Cosmic Comfort is something I started three or 4 years ago. And I think the last session we did was last fall, I think. And a couple of you have asked, hey, could you bring it back? And we've been talking about it, right? Because obviously where we are in the world right now, comfort's important. So it just felt good and right to bring it back. And Cosmic Comfort, I do a lot of different things online. So I do new moon and full moon ceremony every month. And then if there's a high holiday, like we just had, summer solstice, and we had Lammas with first harvest on August 1st. So when we have a high holiday, I do that too on YouTube. And on YouTube, I have a lot of fun astrology videos and all of my previous full and new moons for the last 9 years. I also teach online classes. I teach a class called Soul Shift. And Soul Shift is a full online seminar, set of seminars designed to enhance your spiritual development and your leadership. And then I teach a class in crystal healing called Crystal Masters. So some of you in the feed are my students, and some of you are brand new, and then there's kind of everybody in between. I want to tell you, if you're brand new, welcome in. And if you have been in the community for a long time, thanks for being here today. Because it's really nice to have the mix of everybody together. And Cosmic Comfort is a little bit different than everything else that I do, because the purpose of Soul Shift is to further your spiritual development and get you going on your leadership path. The purpose of Crystal Masters is to train crystal healers. And also in Soul Shift, you become an initiated priestess, right? So that's a very specific kind of program. And then new moon and full moon are obviously designed to celebrate and hold those energies. This is different. This container, this Cosmic Comfort container, is really just an act of service from me to you to try to bring an hour of uplifting, inspiring connection. And it's a place for you to ask questions. I give you my best wisdom. Some of you posted, I posted over the weekend saying, hey, on the event page, so make sure you've RSVP'd there, because then you'll get future notifications. But I posted and I was like, hey, what's on your mind? And a lot of you sent in questions, which was really helpful, because those questions helped me design what I'm going to do with you today. And I'm very grateful that you're here. I turned 47 this weekend, so I'll just speak from my experience. This year is unlike any year of my life so far. And so it's precedent setting in a sense, because it's an entirely different field of energy right now. And what's really interesting about it is our community is global. We have community members in North America, South America, Australia, New Zealand, all the way through Europe, Canada, of course, right? So it's almost common to everyone, the level of anxiety and stress that seems to be ubiquitous, right? It's just sort of everywhere all the time. And so what I'm going to focus on today with you, as I light up some sage to move some energy around. What I'm going to focus on with you today are some of my favorite tips and techniques to keep you present, calm, and mindful in the middle of stress and anxiety. Because that was really what most people asked about. So I am burning sage. It's actually where my work began. Is with this particular plant, this particular herb, which the botanical name is Salvia apiana, but the traditional name or the common name is white sage. And it grows really wild here in Southern California where I am. I'm in Los Angeles. It grows wild all the way through Baja, Mexico, and north to Santa Barbara, and then east to the Anza Borrego Desert. And it is uniquely powerful at not only clearing energy, but setting sacred space. It prepares all of your senses for a deeper energetic connection. So this is a little bit for you in case you don't have any. This is what we call a virtual saging, a virtual smudging. And so into that smoke, I want you to take a moment and release anything that you don't want to hold on to for the rest of this day, the rest of this week. And it's the first step, really, is just starting to consciously surrender what feels too heavy for you to carry. And that can be anything, So just starting to come into contact with your breath, come into an awareness of your breathing. We're going to talk about the vagus nerve today. So we're going to get a little technical, but it's part of sharing my process and my practice with you. And a lot of what I do, because I'm a scientist by training, I have a PhD. And so even though I teach metaphysics, I'm actually a scientist and a bit of a skeptic by background. So one of the reasons a lot of people work with me, or at least what they say, is they know that I look at things through a scientific lens. And there is both an art and a science to managing your energy. There really is. I'm going to give you a couple of different tools today. Some of them will be great for you, and some of them you're going to be like, I don't know, And that's exactly what I want to do. I want to give you kind of a little, set of options, and then I want you to choose and think about what might be best for you. Yeah, it's very true. Well, and working with your vagus nerve is very simple. A lot of the most important energetic tools that we have at our disposal are the simplest, like, burning sage or Palo Santo. Seems so simple, doesn't it? But the whole room shifts. I used to burn sacred herbs before I taught in university. I would sneak in and burn them in the room, half an hour before class. And students would always say, "Oh, when I get to your class, I just feel so relaxed." And it's like, that's because I came in here and did some work before we started, right? So, and one of my hopes is that as you learn things, whether it's from me or anybody else, don't keep these things a secret. You know what I mean? Share this with your family. My kids love it when I burn copal or sage or Palo Santo. They love it. Sometimes they ask me to burn it. A couple nights ago, they both said, "Would you just mind clearing the energy upstairs for us?" It's been a lot. And I'm really proud of my kids when they learn to articulate that, and I'm setting up their own, little bowls of herbs in their room so they can do it when they want to. So anyway, these are things you can share, and that you can share with your kids, with your extended family, with your friends, because you'll in that way become a teacher in your own right, which I really love. So again, I want to thank you for being here and also for sending in your questions. I'm also going to try to leave a little bit of time at the end for live questions. So if you weren't on the event page, if you didn't get a chance to post a question, then I want to leave some time and space for you as well. Yeah, but don't underestimate your kids. And if you don't have kids, this applies to nieces, nephews, godchildren, the neighbors' kids. You know what I mean? Your sphere of influence is always wider than you think. And it's important for you to share, learn things that work for you, and then share them with the people in your life. Okay, so now that we have cleared a little bit of energy, let's talk. So I'm going to read you quickly some of the main questions that came in, just to give you a sense of kind of the temperature in the room. Oh, that's so great. Stephanie just found out that her daughter's coming home today. Our community, if you're just joining, is a little bit of a family. We've been together for a long time. So welcome in, and if you're new, you won't be new for long. Yeah, and with your grandkids too, and everybody, like I said, don't underestimate the younger people in your life. And what I will say is this too: younger people want to be mentored in spiritual practices. Always go easy, you know what I mean? Don't make it too complicated, keep it light and easy. But younger people are very curious, and younger people today are having to learn how to manage energy far in advance of you and me. I mean, I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and we thought that was rough, but energetically there's so much more happening to younger people today. They're inundated with information, they're inundated with frequencies, and so like giving them the tools early makes a lot of sense, because they're kind of ahead of the game, by virtue of when they were born. So let me read you some of the questions just to give you a sense of the energy that's in the field. These were questions from some of you who are joining today. How can I regain a sense of peace and find motivation for life? I'm becoming overwhelmed with everything that keeps piling up. And see if you don't recognize yourself in some of these questions that came in. How do you find comfort in times of uncertainty? How do you truly sit in gratitude? I thought that was a great one. I find myself battling anxiety and fear, but I have so much to be grateful for. Keeping positive energy during these times. How can I self-heal and help those I love to heal instead of stressing out? I need to not only protect my energy, but have to radiate enough happiness through my home to help everyone continue to be healthy. Right? How can we release the overwhelming and very much felt collective anxiety? How can we stay positive and productive when we find ourselves home so much of the time? What can we do individually during this time that will help the collective? Right? Aren't these beautiful questions? There's always a million things that need to be done. I feel like I don't have time for spirituality. How do I clear my monkey mind and stay in a higher vibration? All of these. How do I clear old energy patterns to create space for unconditional love? This was a great one. I would like to chat about clearing and moving energy and staying present during these times. Like it's all right. And here's the thing, as I sat here reading all these, I was like, yep. Finding a balance between being grounded and being in our upper chakras too, right? Okay. So here's what I want to say to you. And it's funny because as a leadership coach and professor for 20 years before I started Sage Goddess, what I'm about to tell you is something that I would have told to corporate executives or to graduate students or, all of my previous clients. So this isn't that far removed from work that I would do in education or in the private sector, right? It's very interesting. Here's what I want you to hear first. So let's not be metaphysical for a minute. Let's just be practical. The most difficult thing for human beings, psychologically, the most difficult things for human beings is when you have to sit in ambiguity. Human beings do not like ambiguity. We like yes, no, right, wrong, right? We like to put people in boxes. That's why we have labels, because it's our mind wants it. Like someone says, oh, I'm a teacher. And then you go, oh, okay, you're a teacher. You put me in a teacher box. This is what a teacher should look like. This is what a teacher should say. This is what a teacher should think. This is not what a teacher should do. This is not what a teacher should say, right? So we box people up. And it's so that we can understand and we can make sense of our reality. That's why we do it. We don't do it just because we like to label things. We don't do it to stereotype people. This is a subconscious psychological process because human beings don't know what to do with people who don't fit in a box. Like, wait, you're a teacher? Like, we don't know what to, or people who don't, obey all the properties of nature and science, right? And we don't know what to do with. Are you ready? This is the hardest 3 words for human beings to accept. Do you know what they are? There are 3 words that no human being intrinsically, innately knows how to accept. Those 3 words are I don't know. Nobody likes it. When I was a professor, I used to say, a student would ask me a question and I would say, I don't know. But we can find out. And the student would look at me like, what do you mean you don't know? You're in front of the room. If you don't know, we're all screwed, right? When a child asks a question and the parent goes, I don't know, the child's like, but you're my mom. Like, what do you mean you don't know, right? We don't know how to deal with, I don't know. When you go to a doctor and you say, am I going to be okay? And the doctor goes, I don't know. Then all of a sudden we go, oh my God, if you don't know how I'm going to be, right? So what we do as human beings is we decide that certain people are powerful, and then we decide they're going to have all the answers to all of our questions. And then when we find out that most people don't have the answers to all of our questions, then we go through a whole crisis as human beings. Oh my God, nobody knows, right? So that's what I want to say to you today, because here's where I want to go. Are you ready to go on a journey with me psychologically? Because this will really help you. This could be the shift that you showed up for today. I mean, there's a reason these 700 people have gathered for the next hour to like have some time together. I want you to try to stop saying, I'm stressed out, I'm anxious, I'm depressed, because those are big, vague categories. I want you to try to understand why you're anxious, why you're stressed out, why you're depressed. And then let's try tackling those things. When people come to me and just go, I'm just so overwhelmed. Why? Why are you overwhelmed? Well, because blah, 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 blah. And then you figure out, you can't fix I'm overwhelmed, but you can fix I'm not, the way I'm doing my work is stressful. It's too much for me with my kids at home. You know what I mean? We can start to pull things apart. But I'm depressed, I'm anxious, I'm overwhelmed is too big, right? Or I'm pissed is the same thing. What do we do with that? I'm pissed. Well, okay, why are you pissed? And then we start to get into because, right? And then we can deal with the becauses, right? Now, here's the thing, Laura Walters, and it's a great question. She said, can we be here if we are fine? This is what I'm going to tell you today. You ready? Everything I'm telling you now is portable. So, if you are fine, if you are not stressed, if you are not anxious, if you feel completely centered, balanced, and aligned, what I think today will be helpful for this cosmic comfort is when you get to a place of overwhelm, because it's the human dynamic. At some point, you will experience, because we all do as human beings, stress, anxiety, disruption of peace on some level. I don't wish it on anyone, but it's the human experience. If you are a human in a human body on a human planet with other humans who are very human-y, you are going to at some point experience stress, anxiety. Now, I'm in a COVID hotspot here in LA, so my experience of this virus, for example, is very real. You may be living somewhere where it's almost not even talked about. Okay, but maybe you have other stresses, other challenges. What I'm sharing with you today is portable in the sense that you can apply the tools that I'm going to share with you to anything. It doesn't have to be a virus. It doesn't have to be a job stress. It doesn't have to be bringing a new baby into the world. It doesn't have to be moving. It doesn't have to be losing a loved one or going through a divorce. But all of these things are sort of common human experiences, right? So if you're human, other humans are going to be human-y, as they will be. I am also human-y myself quite a lot. And Grace, what I'm going to teach you today will work on your migraines. Are you ready? So I hope you'll stay, even if life is perfect in this moment, because at some point, if you experience a challenge, I hope that something I leave you with today is going to resonate with you. Does that make sense? Let me know if you have any questions. And what I really love is when you do ask questions, because if you have a question, someone else has a question, but they may not be I don't know, they may not know how to type it in the feed, or they may not feel like sharing, or they don't want to put themselves out there. So you end up doing something really nice, not just for yourself by asking a question, but for someone else too who maybe might not be brave enough or know how to ask a question. So yeah, so I'm grateful that you're here. So let's talk about all these things. Okay. So I'm going to teach you 2 techniques that don't require any tools, because that's one of my favorite things. It's ironic because I own a crystal and metaphysical shop. But one of the things I try to do is also train people how not to use tools, because invariably, no matter how many pretty crystals you have, you'll be somewhere at some point in your life and you'll need to do some work and you won't have access to any tools. So it's really nice to know how to use your body, because your body, your hands, your energy is one of your favorite, best tools you'll ever work with, right? So back to what my final thoughts on ambiguity. Ambiguity, again, is an experience that you will have at some point as a human being. Your boss will tell you, I don't know what your future is like with the company. Your partner will say, I don't know what our future is like as a couple. Your doctor will say, I don't know what your future is like with, your health. At some point you will have to deal with ambiguity. If you have never dealt with it before, I want to say congratulations, because I feel like I live in ambiguity. Like, I feel like ambiguity is a town and I'm the mayor. So if you don't know what ambiguity is like, I almost want to give you a trophy, because I've never met anybody who's in that position. But if that is you, just know at some point your turn for ambiguity will arrive. So if you can master, and I really mean this, if you can learn how to manage and tolerate ambiguity, and I'm going to give you some skills today, I promise you this will change your life. And, Adelaide said, trust God. That helps too. I'm a woman of faith with a deep spiritual lineage and practice, and I have faith in my Creator. So I will tell you that is part of it for me. I do believe here's how I'll put it. I do believe that something smarter, stronger, and more powerful than me created this planet. And I believe that something stronger, wiser, and more powerful than me is an energy that I can put my faith into. Think about your body. How many millions of cells are in your body working collaboratively? And your body, by the way, always wants to heal. The quest of the human body is to heal itself at all times. We get in the way of that sometimes, but the quest of the human body is to heal. Your body doesn't want to be ill. It doesn't want to be in pain. It's trying to find its way back to centeredness, to healing and to peace. Okay, so let's talk about your body for just a second. Let's leave the woo-woo and get back into the science. So you have a nerve in your body called the vagus nerve. It sounds like the city Vegas, but it's not spelled that way. It's spelled V-A-G-U-S, but if you forget how to pronounce it, think of Las Vegas. It's called the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is basically what operates in your body all of your autonomic functions, meaning all of the functions that don't require your control. So you don't have to make your heart beat. You don't have to make yourself breathe. Everything in your body that happens automatically is governed by the vagus nerve. So it's a very important nerve. And the word vagus derives from the Latin word for wandering, because it kind of wanders through the body. You can see a picture of it if you search it online. So the vagus nerve is this wandering nerve that controls everything that you can't control, or that you couldn't control on your own permanently. So your vagus nerve is actually a tool to help you understand your body's ambiguity. Like, your body doesn't need your permission to breathe, as an example, right? And so your vagus nerve is the nerve that you want to activate in order to relax. When you do certain breathing techniques, and you can also tap to activate the vagus nerve, there are certain specific places in your body to tap if you want to activate the vagus nerve. I'm not showing you that specific technique today because I'm going to teach you my own technique for tapping. But there is a breathing technique that will actually put your body in a physical state of relaxation. Now, this is something I do, but I realized I had never taught this to you before. And different people teach it different ways. Are you ready to learn it? It's the simplest thing I'll ever teach you, but it can literally change your life. And do you know when this really comes in handy? It comes in handy if you are in a stressful meeting, because nobody will even know you're doing it. Or if you're in the middle of an argument with someone, if you're driving in your car and you're freaking out, and the best time is the middle of the night. Do you ever wake up in the middle of the night and it's like, for me, that's when my mind kind of like starts to race in the middle of the night if I wake up. This is how I get myself back to sleep, right? Okay. Woo. And I see you, Naomi Schiffer. I love you so much. I'm glad you're here. You need this technique. Are you ready? So, different people use different numbers. I have found some techniques really challenging when you have to space your breath apart for too many seconds, and some of you might be the same. So I'm going to teach you the technique that I use. It's called the 3-3-6. Okay? So I want you to roll your shoulders back. You just have to think 3-3-6. And if you forget, 3 plus 3 equals 6. It's not difficult to remember. So what are the numbers? What is that crazy red-haired lady's breathing thing? Oh, it's 3-3-6. Okay. The most important thing you do for your vagus nerve is you take a long exhale. The length of the inhale doesn't really matter, and then you got to hold it, but the length of the exhale. The vagus nerve gets stimulated when we have a nice, deep, long exhale. 3-3-6. You ready? So here's what it looks like. You want to take a nice, deep inhale for 3 seconds. Then you want to hold it for 3. And then you want to release it for 6, all 6. Ready? Then you want to do it again. Got it? Okay. If you feel ready, I want you to do it with me. And then you can do the entire thing with your mouth closed. Or you can inhale with your mouth closed and exhale with your mouth open. The amount of time of the exhale is what activates. Now, if it's too hard, if you've got asthma, I get you. So this is why I'm live with you. We can customize this. So try doing a 1-2-4. The key is twice the number of seconds on the exhale as you do on the inhale. So a 1-2-4 is okay, a 2-2-4 is great, a 1-1-3 or a 1-1-2 even. Baby steps to this, right? It's totally okay. It's more the process than anything, and it's double the exhale of the inhale. So I do 3-3-6, but you're welcome to do 2-2-4 or 1-1-2, right? That's a great place to begin. Now it's really cool because Lydia, you see Lydia's comment, she said, I do this at night and didn't even realize it. Now there's an additional activation you can do of energy that opens the channels in the body. If you put your tongue behind your front teeth and rest it against the roof of your mouth, okay, that activates Shakti energy in your body. It activates creativity, it activates passion. It's very subtle, but it's very energetically powerful. So if you're willing to do it, you can do 4-4-8. That's okay too. I like a 3-3-6, but a 4-4-8 is great. Some people do 6-6-12. Personally, for me, I don't feel like there's that much of a benefit, but if you want to extend it, you totally can. Okay? So let's do 2-2-4 together a couple of times. Get that tongue up behind your 2 front teeth, touching the roof of your mouth. Ready? Isn't that cute? And we'll do a couple 2-2-4s. Ready? So let's start now. Remember, it's 2 in, 2 hold, 4 out. Tongue up. How'd that feel? And have you started to notice a little bit of a softening, a little bit of a releasing? If you came into this session with me, does 4-4-8 feel good? Anybody want to try a 4-4-8? We're playing, right? Because I want you to find your groove here. Let's try 4-4-8. So let's do it. That felt really good, didn't it? So Scout likes a 3-3-6. 3-3-6 is my jam. It's what I do. 4-4-8 is a little bit of extended remix. 1-1-2 is like, I don't have time for you. This is a dramatic reenactment. Okay, so can we try, let's do 2-2-4 so everybody can participate. Because I'm very sensitive to those who have asthma, right? Very, very sensitive. And that's a big deal right now. So I don't want you to overwhelm yourself, and I don't want you to get your heart rate up too high. So let's do 5 rounds of 2-2-4. And then if you want to extend it on your own and that's not confusing to you, I would encourage you to do it. But I'm going to do 2-2-4. Ready? So again, it's 2 on the inhale, hold it for 2, release with 4. And then you can do your extended remix, okay? Just a softening, right? And if you do them back to back, then your body starts to get lulled into a rhythm of breathing that's known as pranayama, which is a sort of a continuous, what they call a looped breath. And if you continue to do that for about 10 or 15 minutes, you'll get into a really deep state of meditation. Isn't it nice? So the reason this works for panic attacks, again, I want to talk about the why today. The reason this works for panic attacks, and it does. I mean, if you are having a full-blown panic attack, which I'm not prone to, but my kids do sometimes, have had like real serious panic attacks. And a lot of people in our community have panic attacks. Panic attacks are very real and they're very scary if you're experiencing one. And so this kind of breathing, this kind of measured, sort of paced breathing activates the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is what's responsible for relaxation. It's also the nerve that's responsible for orgasm. So again, it will completely soften and relax your central nervous system. Once I'm done doing this breath, the next thing I do, this is my second tool for you that doesn't require a tool. And again, I'm really passionate about this because I'd love you to know how to work with crystals and all kinds of things. But again, there will be a time in your practice where you are somewhere on a plane, in a bathroom, whatever, and you will have no tools. And my passion is making sure you know what to do in those cases too. Now tapping, which often is done with the third and the fourth fingers, these 2 fingers, because they're the gentlest, right? Your index finger is much stronger as a touch than your ring finger or your middle finger. And if you're in my online classes, I've been teaching you about all the correspondences of your fingers. So there's other reasons for this too, but I want to keep this kind of short and sweet. Tapping, when you tap your body in certain places, it activates what are known as the meridians. And the meridians are energy lines in your body. Meridians are the basis of acupuncture and acupressure, which is all about reorienting energy flow in your body for optimal health. Okay? And again, if you have questions, let me know. I'm trying to explain this in a very basic way, but I'm also happy to answer any of your questions. So there are traditional tapping locations right here in the bridge of your nose, out here, top of your head. So if you learn tapping or you do tapping with a traditional tapping teacher or practitioner, they will teach you those techniques. I'm teaching you a shortcut that works for me, and I often will do this as a pairing to the breathing that I just taught you. Are you ready? So I use my right hand, and there's 3 different places that I tap, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. And again, it is so helpful. It might sound very simple to you and might not look like much, but this has been incredibly helpful for me. So I do the 3-3-6 breathing, and then I do 3 rounds of what I'm about to show you. So I begin by tapping my third eye, and it's just a series of very light taps. You're not punching yourself in the face. It's just a tap, right? And watch your breath. And what I say here is peace for my mind. Peace for my mind. And you can say it over and over again. Peace for my mind, or peace to my mind, right? I say 4, but peace for my mind, peace for my mind. I'm activating my third eye, right? Which is helping my body tap into its own natural intuition. Peace for my mind. Love for my heart. And just tapping over the heart space. Love for my heart. Love for my heart. And then if I've got any pain, I go to the place. So I'll say healing for my body. Or if it's a migraine, healing from my body. Or I'll do the back of my neck and the top of my head, healing for my body. Or if for me it's my shoulders, healing for my body. Or if it's your heart, healing for your body. Or if it's your sciatic, or wherever it is. Your touch is very healing to your own body, healing for my body. So again, peace for my mind. If you want, you can do the top of your head and your third eye. Peace for my mind, love for my heart, healing for my body. Peace for my mind, love for my heart, healing for my body. Do you like it? Peace for my mind, love for my heart, healing for my body. And I'm doing the breath as I'm doing the tapping. Does that sound good? Okay. Those are the 2 techniques that will get you out of a serious episode of stress without any tools. And what's really cool is the breathing. Nobody's even knowing what you're doing. I'm going to show you the breath without moving, and you tell me if you can tell that I'm doing it. It's so nice to see you guys today. How's your Tuesday been? Right? Like, you can't even tell I'm doing the breath, right? But I could be over here having a massive panic attack and you wouldn't know it. And I'm doing an entirely powerful, energetic exercise, and I can do it in your presence and you have no idea. And then I could be doing my tapping. You're not aware of it, right? I can just, if I'm in a meeting, it just looks like I'm stretching a little bit, right? Breathing is really powerful, and nobody has to know what you're doing. That's exactly right. You just keep breathing. If you're somewhere and you're in public and you can't do the peace to my mind, peace to my heart, peace to my body, or healing to my body, love to my heart, what you can do is use your fingers. Like, let's say you're under a table, so you can do peace to my mind, love to my heart, healing to my body, peace to my mind, love to my heart, healing to my body. You can use the fingers, because remember, the fingers are connected to every energy center in your body. Your fingers have their own chakras, right? Peace to my mind, love to my heart, healing to my body. Peace to my mind, love to my heart, healing to my body. Peace to my mind, love to my heart, healing in my body. Feckin' amazing. as they say in Dublin. Thank you for that, Grace. So eventually, yes, Bright Blackberry, she's like, can you concentrate when you're counting mentally? Eventually, you'll be able to do it. It's tricky. Everything you learn, even the simple things, seem complicated at first until you start practicing, and then you're like, oh, I've totally got this, right? Looks like you're just present at the meeting. Meanwhile, you're like, please help me keep my shit together. Please help me keep my shit together. Please help me keep my shit together. Right? It's a beautiful thing. Okay, so those are your 2 techniques with no tools. Next, I'm going to teach you a technique with a tool. So those are like the free, easy, and you know what? You know who's better at what I just showed you than I am? Nick and Zoe. My kids are so good at looped breathing and tapping. They're so good. And my daughter had to have an infusion on Monday for her illness. And I saw her, so she was getting her, her needle inserted, but she was tapping with her other hand. And I was like, I'm so proud of her. She's over there like, peace to my mind, left to my heart, feeling to my body. I can see her doing it. So I have neuropathy. Michelle's asking about neuropathy. So that's where you want to, when you do your peace to my mind, love to my heart, healing to my body, wherever you have your neuropathy, like I'll get it in my arms sometimes and in my elbows and, through my shoulder area. So that's that 3rd level of the tapping is your, healing to my body, healing from my body. Yep. But breathing is everything. Breathing, I always tell people, don't underestimate your breath. Breathing, if you breathe correctly, no matter how nauseous you ever get, you will never throw up. It's really true. And this is what I've tried to teach my kids too. You can breathe through childbirth, you can breathe through nausea, you can breathe through anxiety. Your breath was given to you as a gift, but you have to learn how to work with it. It is a tool in your toolkit, but you have to learn how to manage it. So these are easy. Yeah, so and Sherry says neuropathy from neck to toes. So then just what you want to do is just find those central core areas and just tap. There's no limit to where and how you can tap. And then you can start to learn to use your fingers as proxies for the rest of your body, right? Oh yeah, you can totally tap your intestines. I do it for menstrual cramps because mine are kind of gnarly, so I tap through cramps. If it works on cramps, it'll work on anything, right? Yeah, so Jessie B, let me know. She says, her pain levels were out of control today. And living with chronic pain is the hardest thing. If you don't know what that's like, just really have compassion for people who have chronic pain because it's incredibly difficult. Those are the people who really deserve your sympathy. Because I will tell you, there is nothing like chronic pain. It's having to entirely reorient your life in some way. I mean, it's fundamentally the hardest thing to navigate. Okay. Oh, I love that. Annette said she was working on this with her daughter on breathing at the ER. It's a tool for everybody at any age, right? Okay. If you want to learn more about hands, you should join Soul Shift or Crystal Masters. I'm actually teaching my crystal healing students all of the meanings of their fingers. I just finished teaching Soul Shift, and then I'm teaching them how to grid their arms with crystals. So if you ever want to learn more about that, Crystal Masters would be a good program for you to join. Don't go join it now, but you can join it later. Nothing's happening today, so there's no huge rush. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to teach you requires what we call a mala. A mala is a strand of beads, usually gemstones, but sometimes they're seeds, like Rudraksha is a seed from the Rudra tree in India that's very sacred and used in malas. This one is a gemstone. We have them at Sage Goddess. A lot of you have malas. They're made with 108 beads because there's 108 energy centers in the human body. And so what we try to do with a mala is say a mantra, which is a word or phrase, usually has sacred or spiritual significance, and we go around the mala and we say that word or phrase 108 times. And this comes from the Vedas, which are the oldest spiritual texts ever written. They are the basis of Hindu theology. And from the Vedas, what we learn is if you say a sacred mantra 108 times, you fill every cell in your body with that energy. So I'm going to teach you a one-word mantra today, And that word is Shanti. It's spelled Shanti, Shanti. And Shanti means peace. And since this is cosmic comfort, I thought, well, you know, what's the easiest mantra I could teach you? It's easy to pronounce, it's easy to remember. And so what we're going to do, if you don't have a mala, I'm going to count for you. All you need to do is say it. And I do believe in saying mantra out loud. So if you don't have a 108 bead mala, don't worry, I'm going to count for you. And you can actually watch me go around if you want, or you can close your eyes. But when you see me get back to the other side, you'll know we're almost done with our 108 recitation. Are you ready? So again, just take a nice deep breath. Remember that holding and that long release is what activates that vagus nerve. And here we go with Shanti. 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 And then when we get to this bead, which is called the Guru bead, I usually say Om 3 times. Om, Om, Om. And then you can say Om Shanti, 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 Om. So we'll do that together. Om Shanti, 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 Om. Om is the sound of the name of God. It's actually made up of 3 sounds that are collapsed together to represent Om. and Shanti is peace. And so when we conclude the recitation of a mantra with Om, it's sort of like saying Amen at the end of a prayer. It sort of closes the energy. And so what you have done, and it doesn't take long, right? What was that, 5 minutes maybe? Less than that? And you have sent peace to every cell in your entire body. So again, imagine, you're in such like a radically stressed space. And even if you don't have a mala, you can just set your timer and say, I'm going to recite Shanti for 4 minutes or 5 minutes, right? You probably will be close to 108. And so this is still something you can probably do without a mala. This is a counting tool. But a lot of people wear them as necklaces. You see people wear them as necklaces sometimes, and they're beautiful. So that is a powerful mantra. There are lots of different mantras. I wrote about quite a few of them in my book called The Ultimate Guide to Chakras, and I gave you a mantra for each of the 9 chakras that I wrote about there. There's also what are known as bija mantras or seed mantras, which are 1-syllable mantras that activate each one of the 7 chakras in your system. So if you guys find yourselves really interested in this is something that we could, like in each Cosmic Comfort, we could do one of the seed mantras together, which might be a cool way of teaching them to you. And then again, that's a really portable skill, something that you can do anytime, anywhere. It's not hard to remember, and it will activate each one of your chakras so that, if you get to a place where you're like, oh, my root chakra is really out of alignment, then all you have to do is recite that seed mantra and you'll get it back in good working order. So I'm glad that was helpful for you. And that's what that's what Cosmic Comfort is, really. It's just, for me, it's a space where we can have these conversations. We can share about the challenges that we're all kind of mutually facing in this one moment. And then, each one of us is also experiencing this time really differently. And so you may need something different than I do right now. But I think there is some common energy in the field, and a lot of it's around this need to tolerate deeper levels of ambiguity than I think we've ever had to engage as a species before. I love that. So let's review. I feel like such a professor sometimes. Let's recap what we learned today. So we learned about the 336 or the 448. We learned the vagus nerve breath, the breath that activates the vagus nerve to calm, center, and balance your body. And that will get you out of a panic attack. That's also something that you can teach to the young ones in your life. You can teach it to the not so young ones in your life as well. Then we talked about alternatives to traditional tapping: peace for my mind, love for my heart, healing for my body. And I just recite those 3 times. That will really help you fall back asleep. And it's really sweet because when I first started to do this peace for my mind, love for my heart, healing for my body, this was, I don't know, maybe a month ago, maybe a little bit more than that. I was really feeling stressed. It's very difficult to have employees during a pandemic. We're all spread out, you know what I mean? I've got my family and my extended family and my community, and it's just, there are moments that have been really stressful. So I fell asleep and I woke up and like my mind was starting to go. And in this dream, I could hear this woman speaking to me. I couldn't see her. She did not have like a human form or anything, but I kept hearing her voice. This wasn't that long ago. And do you know what she kept telling me over and over again? And it was almost a whisper, but it was an older woman's voice. And she kept saying, it's okay for you to let everything unfold. It's okay for you to just let things be. It's okay. It's okay to let it be. It's okay to let it unfold. It's okay to release control. It's okay to trust the process. It's okay to do that. And I literally was just, the amount of peace that just hearing, I mean, again, I know that to be true, right? I know this to be true. It's not like this is earth-shattering news, right? When I just said it to you, you probably weren't like, oh, that's the most amazing thing I ever heard, right? It's so obvious. But there's something about hearing someone else say to you, guess what? It's okay just to let it be. It's okay to trust the process. It's okay to trust that your kids are going to learn this year somehow, some way. It's okay to trust that your health is perfect and that you will continue to stay in perfect health. It's okay to trust that you don't have to have all the answers all the time. In fact, you're not going to have all the answers. It's okay to let everything in your life, right, just unfold as it's meant to be. Yeah, Sherry's asking what other autoimmune diseases I've had. So when I was 18, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. I had probably had it for much longer than that because I'd always had digestive problems, but I was officially diagnosed. And then when I was pregnant with my daughter, my second child, I was diagnosed with pregnancy-induced Graves' disease, which is a thyroid disease. And then when I was... I'm 47. When I was 36, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. So those are my holy trinity of autoimmune diseases. And I'm very thankful to say I'm in remission from all three. But I was declared legally blind when I was 36. I lost my vision, was how I was diagnosed with MS. And so, yeah. And I will tell you something. I credit the work that I'm sharing with you. I credit my health to this work. I really do. Because I do Western medical treatments, but I'm in remission from Crohn's and from Graves' disease with no medication. And so I want to just kind of remind you and inspire you that energy work is very real and it has very real consequences. Positive consequences. The most important thing, though, is find a practice that works for you and be consistent about it. If you're going to recite your mantra, recite it every day. Now, I'll tell you something. If I hadn't lost my vision and been diagnosed, and by the way, I couldn't drive for almost 6 months, and my kids were 1 and 3 when I was diagnosed. And I couldn't drive for 6 months, and I was working. So you can kind of imagine what that was like. That was a very scary time because you can't drive when you can't see. If that hadn't happened, you and I wouldn't be sitting here together. That was what gave me the courage to really follow my heart and create Sage Goddess. I knew I wanted to do this, but I don't think it would have happened if that hadn't happened to me. So I will tell you this right now, and I will always tell you this. The best thing that ever happened to me was MS. I'm grateful to it. I respect it. It taught me so much, and it's taught me in a really gentle way. But I think part of my relationship with illness is you have to see that sometimes things come along in your life and you're like, why is this happening to me? It's happening to you. It's a gift. It's going to shift something. It's going to shift your perspective. It's going to make you brave. It's going to teach you how strong you are. It's going to give you a whole new set of allies. It's going to introduce you to a whole new way of living. And if that hadn't happened to me, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. And if you were to ask anybody in my life, if Dave was here right now and you were like, is she really grateful for MS? He would say, she's 100% grateful. Like, it's really, really true. I never complain. So don't get into the pity party stuff if you have health challenges. Stand up, say thank you, and get to work, right? This is what we do. And part of the work that I do in the world, honestly, what's interesting is a lot of people find me and Sage Goddess after they've been diagnosed with something gnarly. Because they know I'm going to give them a different perspective on it. Now, I'm not going to throw a pity party for them. What I'm going to say is, great, here's where we are. Now, where's the gift? How are you going to take this and have it become the story of your life, the defining moment in the most positive, productive way, right? So that you can start changing other people's lives. So I love it. Christina said, that's how I feel about my epilepsy, right? It's like, you know what? And cheers to you, because that's not easy to do. But I promise you, it's the best thing that ever happened to me. And there's some gift in your health challenge too. But you got to find it. You got to find it. And you have to want to find it. And you know what? It's okay to get pissed for a little while. But then you got to stop that. And you got to flip that script. And you got to start looking for the gift. Because the gift is there. But sometimes you got to sift through a lot to find it. I'm really glad. Thank you, Danielle. Well, it's true. And so I am the person you can call and go, oh my God, this thing just happened. And because again, like I said at the beginning, maybe you're in a place right now where your health is perfect, your relationship's perfect, your job's perfect, everything's going swimmingly, which I hope so, and may it continue. If there is a time in your life where you do have to work with ambiguity, I lost my vision on a Friday. This is Thursday. And I was scheduled to be traveling. I was in Tennessee, and I was scheduled to be going to Germany after that trip. So I wasn't scheduled to be home for a long time. I lost my vision about 6 a.m. before a client meeting in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And so I called the man who I was supposed to be consulting to in his company. And I said, listen, I can't see. I'm in my hotel room, and I don't know what's going on. But I know you're expecting me in an hour, and I'm a little scared. And he said, don't worry. I have an ophthalmologist that I see. I will get you into his office right away, and we'll figure out what's going on. Don't worry about the meeting. We'll reschedule it. You just go see what this is about. So I called an Uber or whatever it was at that time, just a cab, I think. And I got to the ophthalmologist's office, and the doctor did, an exam on me. And he looked at me and he said, I trained at UCLA, because he knew I was from LA. And he said, you need to get into an MRI machine, and I don't have one here in Chattanooga. So I can either send you to Atlanta or I can send you home. But he said, I will be honest with you, this is either MS or a brain tumor. And I can't tell you which one until we get an MRI. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get an MRI until Monday. So I had to go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and get the results back on Tuesday. I had to sit for 5 days not knowing. I learned a lot in those 5 days. And so when I got the news that it was MS, it was the best news of my life, because the alternative was so much worse. So I actually literally was screaming and crying and saying, thank you God, thank you angels for MS. So happy, right? I was so thrilled. I literally was screaming in joy when I got that call from the doctor, because it was the best news. So anyway, I share all this with you again because sometimes we have to put things in perspective. Do you know what I mean? Most people, if they got that call, would be like, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. I got it, and I couldn't have been a happier camper. So just remember, your bad news could be somebody else's good news. Your good news could be somebody else's bad news. It's all relative. So with that, I say, so if you want to know why I'm quite calm for somebody who's in the middle of a very challenging circumstance, in the world with our health challenges and everything else. But I've learned not to overreact, and I've learned that there's a gift in every challenge if we can just find what it is. I don't know what the gift of this year is yet, but I will tell you, stay strong and stay focused, and remember that the best is always ahead. And you need to be able to look at your present circumstances with a lens of hope for the future. And that's where I'm sitting today too. And then that vagus nerve just gets activated, right? Cheers, you guys. Some of you had heard that story before. I'm going to have my ginger ale. Some of you had heard it before, but some of you hadn't. And maybe you needed to hear it today. You know what I mean? Maybe you've been in that place of just feeling like, I don't know what you're feeling, but maybe you needed a little bit of a shift in your perspective. Okay, so I'm going, before I say goodbye, Team SG, I do want to say thank you. Team SG and I came up with a fun little gift for you. So the Lionsgate is closing tomorrow, and I'm doing ceremony at home tonight, just a little private ceremony to close the window. So I'm going to be charging some stones tonight in that ceremony. And so what we thought we would do is gift one to everybody who's here. Please don't say anything outside of this live because I don't have enough for people who aren't here. But if you do shop at sagegoddess.com, because a lot of the things I've showed you, did you see my pendulum necklace, by the way? This is new today. It's like carrying a pendulum around you with you on your neck. If you say cosmic in your notes, if you shop at sagegoddess.com, before midnight tonight, I'm gonna send you a free crystal that I'm charging in ceremony tonight. But again, first of all, you don't need to shop if there isn't anything you're looking for. But there are some good tools to support your practice on the website, and the team will link to it for you. And then I'm gonna pop an extra crystal in there as a gift. But I'm not doing that till tomorrow because I'm doing a ceremony tonight, and I'm going to charge those stones in my ceremony as we close the Lionsgate for 2020. Did you get the necklace? You don't have to wear, I designed this necklace. It's a lariat. It's kind of sexy. This, you can pull the quartz point all the way out. See that? But I like it kind of high on my neck, and then it's an automatic pendulum. Isn't that fun? I was live earlier and I'm like, I'm going to wear this for you later so you can see it. It's one of the sexiest necklaces I think that we've made for you. So anyway, those are there too. But you have to say cosmic in your notes. I'm so glad. So enjoy, and thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of our community. We're super grateful for you. And please know that my team and I continue to pray for your health and your well-being and your peace. Remember, peace for my mind, love for my heart, healing for my body. Number 336, or you pick your number, 224 or 448. The exhale has to be twice as long as the inhale. Remember, it's 108 times to recite your mantra to fill every cell in your body. And most of all, just remember that even the biggest challenges of your life can lead you to the grandest blessings. I promise you that. I've lived it. So the best is ahead, and I'm grateful that we get to walk on this long and crazy road together. I appreciate you. Team SG, I appreciate you too. Thank you for being there live. I think Alexis and Hannah and maybe even Claire are there right now. Some of you fell asleep. I love it. That's always the mark of a great class. When I was a college professor, I used to read to my students because I love being read to. And I taught literature, and I taught all different kinds of subjects. But before I taught leadership, I taught literature. And so I used to read to them. And sometimes I would look, and the whole back row was like, I knocked them out. But, at least they were very relaxed by the time class was over. So thank you for being there. And especially, it's midnight, isn't it, in Dublin right now? Thank you, Grace, for being there in Ireland. It's beautiful to have you with us. Is it cosmic or comfort in the notes? Oh, it's comfort in the notes. Sorry. Did I say cosmic? Whatever, we'll figure it out. If you say cosmic or comfort, I will send you a free crystal. It's hard for me to remember all the details sometimes. Audrey's 8-year-old fell asleep next to her. I love that too. So, cheers. So you don't have to close the Lionsgate. The Lionsgate closes itself. The Lionsgate is an alignment. If you haven't heard me talk about this, the Lionsgate opens on July 26th, and that's when the star Sirius, which is 2 times the size of the sun and 26 times brighter, comes into direct alignment with the Earth. It actually creates a really interesting alignment between the pyramid at Giza. I mean, our ancient ancestors understood this window of time and this alignment. And Sirius is the star of Christ consciousness. It's actually the star that the wise men followed to find Christ in the manger. So it's got a long biblical lineage, but it's got a powerful magical lineage beyond its Christian associations. So, and it happens when during the Leo period, right? So that's why it's called the Lionsgate. But it's kind of an upgrade. It's like an energetic or astrological activation. And so that alignment makes its final turn tomorrow. And then after the 12th of August, the Lion's Gate closes. So one of the things I do the night before it closes every year is just acknowledge, sit in gratitude. It'll be a prayer. I'll drum tonight, just to sort of drum the energy down, and then ask that any additional activations that need to happen, occur in a good way. And so I'll be infusing that energy into these crystals too. I'm gonna program quartz with these energies. It's why I chose quartz, because quartz holds a resonance. It holds a frequency really well. So you can program it really easily to hold a vibration. So when you get your piece, just keep that piece, and anytime that you feel like you need to connect to these energies, which are Christ consciousness, strength, power, reactivation, recoding of your DNA, anytime you feel the need to connect to those energies, that'll be an important piece for you. My shirt is from Etsy, and thank you for noticing it. I think the shop is called, correct me if I'm wrong, Brain Candy Inc. I think it's called Brain Candy Inc. I love their clothes. I'm kind of obsessed with them. And I like to support artists on Etsy. Most of my clothing, my pants are from Sage Goddess, but they're 100 years old, and my shirt is from Etsy. I don't like to buy clothes, and I don't even really like to wear clothes. So Etsy's kind of my thing. If I'm going to buy clothes, I want to try to buy them from somebody who makes them. So you can find it on Etsy. All right, you guys, enjoy. I'm glad tonight was good for you. Thank you for being there. We really appreciate you. If you are in Soul Shift, I will see you live tomorrow for readings at 2 p.m. If you're in Crystal Masters, we have live crystal Q&A for 2 hours tomorrow from 4 to 6 p.m. And so I'm looking forward to that. So stay tuned. Lots more to come tomorrow if you're in classes. If you're not in classes, you're always welcome to join. And if you're not joining classes, then I will see you at our next Cosmic Comfort. We also have, of course, our new moon ceremony coming up next week. So there's a lot ahead. I think we have the live gem sale next Monday, if I'm recalling correctly, and the new moon ceremony Tuesday night. So I'm live with something almost every day. It's just a matter of what, where, and who, right? So anyway, thanks for being there, you guys. We'll see you soon. Have a great rest of your evening.